Breaking news. Paul Heyman's return to WWE is approaching, according to Fany Jr., Roman Reigns' real-life cousin. As we approach Survivor Series War Games, fans are hoping that Heyman will inject fresh blood into the ongoing bloodline plot. A horrific attack by Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa rendered the wise men of the bloodline incapacitated since the end of June. After their vacations, Roman Reigns and Jimmy USO are back in the ring, but Heyman has vanished. Fany Jr., Joe Lowry, and Sportskeeda Wrestling's Enter the Bloodline podcast recently covered the topic of Heyman's possible comeback. Fany Jr. went so far as to say that both sides of the table would feel the effects of the wise men. Last week on WWE SmackDown, the Bloodline assaulted Roman Reigns and Jimmy USO again, leaving them overwhelmed and in need of support. After losing the Intercontinental Championship to Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu on Monday Night Raw, it will be intriguing to see if JUSO reconsiders. Keeping in shape is a huge challenge for WWE superstars. Recently, Roman Reigns, who has been active on TikTok, revealed his fitness routine. The key is to give up something you care about, which isn't easy. Before Crown Jewel, which takes place in Saudi Arabia on November 2, Reigns is set to make an appearance on WWE SmackDown for the following 2 nights. Paul Heyman's involvement in the current bloodline plot has the WWE Universe buzzing with conjecture. Managing the bloodline with unwavering dedication, Heyman has been an integral part of Roman Reigns' ascent to the position of the Tribal Chief, thanks to his brilliant intellect and unmatched microphone abilities. Some have speculated that Heyman is preparing to shock the group when he returns, based on remarks made by Fany Jr., a cousin of Reigns and a member of the illustrious NY wrestling family. Fany Jr. dropped hints in a recent interview that Heyman would bring some chaos to the bloodline. He made reference to both sides of the table, suggesting that Heyman may reevaluate his relationship, and left fans wondering, might Heyman betray Roman Reigns? If Heyman pulls off this surprising maneuver, it may have far-reaching consequences for WWE's top group, the Bloodline. We'll break it down for you here. Heyman's involvement with the Bloodline has been instrumental in shaping one of the most popular storylines in WWE's recent history. Heyman, in his role as Reigns' special counsel, has played a pivotal role in the narrative of the faction, demonstrating exceptional manipulation and strategy. By teaming up with him, Roman Reigns has been able to keep his hold on the WWE Universal Championship and exert tribal rules of devotion and domination over Jimmy and JUSO, his family members. Heyman's unwavering support for Reigns stems from his core personality. Heyman is well versed in the subtleties of power, deception, and allegiance inside the intricate world of WWE, having guided superstars like a CM Punk and Brock Lesnar. Heyman may seem devoted to Reigns on the outside, but he is really very crafty and unpredictable. His possible treachery is all the more interesting because of this uncertainty. Heyman may soon be engaging in a new game, which has both fans and members of the Bloodline questioning his motives, according to Fany Jr. According to Fany Jr., a wrestling business veteran who knows his way around the Bloodline, Heyman could be setting himself up to see both sides of the table. Many fans are quite curious about this phrase. By considering opposing viewpoints, Heyman may have been plotting methods to further his interests, independent of his commitment to Roman, by leaving room for maneuvering. This clue might mean that Heyman is considering switching allegiances inside the Bloodline. For example, Jimmy or JUSO, who have both shown mixed feelings about Roman's leadership recently, could be candidates. Since Heyman's manipulation has often served as the faction's glue, this move has the potential to further strain the already strained relationship within the bloodline. It is possible that Heyman is plotting to depose Roman from his throne, and that a break in the faction might signal a change in the dynamics of the bloodline if he switches allegiances. Forming a partnership with Jimmy or Jey Uso. Conflict between Roman and his cousins, especially Jey, who sought freedom by defecting to Raw, has dominated the plot of the bloodline for the last year. But Jimmy Uso is still very much in Roman's sphere of influence on SmackDown, even if he has begun to defy him. A dramatic change in allegiance would occur if, upon his return, Heyman sided with Jimmy or Jey, suggesting that Heyman may have faith in their abilities to succeed in WWE apart from Roman's influence. A major split in the bloodline might result from aligning with one of the USOs. With Heyman on board, the USOs he's aligned with would have a leg up in the alliance, making them Roman's rivals. Roman would have to deal with Heyman's treachery, defend his title, and preserve his family's history, all at the same time when a power struggle broke out inside the bloodline. Solo Sikoa, and an unbelievable alliance. Despite being the youngest member of the bloodline, Solo Sikoa has shown to be an incredibly strong and devoted enforcer. Sikoa is a promising young wrestler with the ability to become a WWE superstar thanks to her power, agility, and promise. Aligning with Sikoa might be a long-term strategy, as Heyman is known for seeing potential early on. Heyman would then turn his attention to developing Solo into a potential champion who may take on Reigns in the future. Because of this partnership, the faction would be more nuanced. For example, Heyman may teach Sikoa to be successful like Roman, but in his own unique way. By teaming up with Heyman, Sikoa would have the self-assurance and resources he needs to finally claim domination on his own. In addition to setting himself up for a future apart from Roman, this action would indicate that Heyman wants to maintain influence within the bloodline. Surprising betrayal. Embracing an opponent from outside the family tree. A surprise move from WWE would be for Heyman to join up with an opposing faction, even though he is mostly focused on bolstering the bloodline. Just picture Heyman teaming up with Cody Rhodes, a formidable force who has publicly stated his desire to unseat Reigns and finish the story of his own WWE career. Heyman has always been one to stir up trouble, and if he were to team up with the bloodline's biggest enemy, it would make him one of the most interesting villain personalities in WWE again. If Heyman were to go, Roman would lose his closest advisor and be left to fight his enemies alone, which would be a very dangerous situation. Aside from endangering Roman's title, this development would set the stage for an enthralling fight in which the tribal chief would face off against both an old ally and a formidable new force. Heyman is a master manipulator, playing both sides of the coin. Heyman's strategic prowess may allow him to maintain control of WWE's most powerful factions by manipulating Roman and his possible new ally. While outwardly supporting Roman, Heyman would be sowing strife inside the bloodline, fueling Jimmy's revolt, or encouraging Solo's aspirations, playing the part of a double agent. At the same time, he would be coordinating with an outside celebrity to undermine Roman's influence outside of the bloodline, giving him control of both factions. This new development would establish Heyman as the supreme puppet master, giving him control over various factions inside WWE. In this plot, Heyman would go from being just a manager to a powerful figure in WWE who could decide the fate of the company's top stars. This would cement Heyman's place in wrestling history by making him one of the most nuanced and multifaceted characters in WWE.